All right, so if you're a freelancer or you run an agency, you already know the grind of finding new clients, right? But what if you could automate that very first touch point? What if you could turn a cold hello into a genuinely warm lead? Well, today we're diving deep into a system called AuditBot Pro that claims to do exactly that. I mean, we've all gotten them, haven't we? Those generic copy-paste emails that just land in your inbox and poof, straight to the trash bin. Look, the hard truth is that old school cold outreach, it's just broken. It's a massive waste of time, the return is tiny, and that is precisely the problem this whole system is built to solve. Okay, let's be real for a minute. Are those emails you spend so much time crafting just vanishing into the void? Are you putting in hours and hours of prospecting for just a handful of replies, if any? If that sounds painfully familiar, believe me, you are not alone. But there is a much, much smarter way to do this. Okay, now, compare that old way with this. This one sentence is the entire engine behind the system. Instead of begging for 15 minutes of their time, you're leading with pure tangible value. You're saying, hey, I already did some work for you. I found real problems and I have the answers. You see how that completely flips the script? It changes the whole dynamic. And that's exactly where AuditBot Pro steps in. Now, I want you to think of this less like just another software tool and more like your own personal automated sales assistant, one that works around the clock, digging up valuable insights that potential clients actually want to see. So here's the key idea, the big picture. AuditBot Pro is a full-on client acquisition tool that's cleverly disguised as a free, valuable service. It uses these really powerful automated website audits, checking out their tech, their speed, their SEO, and uses all that info to turn a totally cold prospect into a genuinely warm lead who's now eager to hear what you have to say. So what's actually making all this happen? Let's break down the core features. The system automatically does a tech stack audit using the BuiltWith API. It analyzes the site's core web vitals with PageSpeed insights, which are, basically Google's big report card for user experience. It even gives an overall SEO score. But, and this is the really cool part, it doesn't just give you a bunch of numbers. It uses GPT 4.0 to write a full professional HTML report and then emails it directly to the prospect for you. Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, right? But what does it actually look like in practice? Let's follow the journey from A to Z, from a potential client seeing your offer, all the way to a detailed, compelling proposal hitting their inbox with almost zero effort on your part. The crazy thing is, the workflow itself is super simple. All you do is share a link. That's it. The prospect puts in their website, their name, their email, and your job is done. From that point on, the system just takes over. It pulls all the data, gets GPT 4.0 to write a beautiful branded report, and then fires it off in an email. It makes you look like a total pro from the very first interaction. All right, for all the tech-savvy folks out there who are wondering, how does this all actually connect and work? Let's pop the hood. Understanding the tech stack here really shows you just how powerful and seamless this automation is. So the engine behind this whole operation is a tool called n8n. It's the automation backbone. Think of it like the conductor of an orchestra. It tells all the other services exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to bring all the different pieces together for that final polished report. First up in the automation chain is the BuiltWith API. I like to think of this as the tech detective in the system. In an instant, it can tell you what a website is built with. Is it WordPress, Shopify? What analytics are they using? And let me tell you, that info is absolute gold when you're tailoring your pitch later on. All right, next, the workflow taps into Google's PageSpeed Insights API. This is the performance guru. It measures those really crucial core web vitals to figure out how fast the site actually feels to a real user. If a site has a low score here, and a lot of them do, that's a huge pain point for a business. And for you, that's the perfect way in. And now we get to what is honestly my favorite part. The system feeds all that raw, geeky data from BuiltWith and PageSpeed into the OpenAI API, running on GPT 4.0. It doesn't just list it out, it actually writes a human-sounding professional executive summary, points out quick wins, and wraps it all up with your branding. It literally turns raw data into a sales tool. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds amazing, but is it going to be a huge headache to set up? Well, let's walk through the actual blueprint for getting this up and running for your own business. So to get this thing humming, you do need to grab a few API keys to connect all the services. You'll need one from BuiltWith for the tech analysis, one from Google for the speed tests, and one from OpenAI for the report writing. Then you just hook up your Gmail so it can send the emails for you. I know this might look a little intimidating, but don't worry, the guide walks you through how to get each one step by step. And check this out. The whole setup is really just 5 main steps. You basically just import the workflow file they give you, pop in those API keys we just talked about, tweak the AI prompt so it sounds like you and your agency, connect your Google stuff, and then you flip the switch. That's it. You're ready to share your form link. So you do all that. What's the payoff? What kind of results can you expect? Well, the data from the source material points to a 2 to 3 times higher closing rate compared to just sending out those generic, "Hey, can we talk?" emails. By leading with value, you're starting the conversation from a place of trust and authority. And the price tag for this whole system, the entire blueprint, the workflow, everything, it's a one-time cost of $127. When you think about what a single new client is worth, the value here is just kind of undeniable. So when you zoom out, this all leads to a much bigger question, doesn't it? Is this model, this blend of smart automation, powerful AI, and a value-first approach, the future of how we find new clients? It's a huge shift away from just asking for a meeting to giving value right from the first hello. So I want to leave you with this final thought. This isn't about chasing clients anymore. It's about creating a system that attracts them to you by showing, not just telling them what you can do. So what if your next big project, your next long-term client, was really just one automated, insightful audit away?